everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So we're here today because it is Thursday, which means it's Booklist Thursday. Booklist Thursday is something I do with Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand. We come to you every Thursday with some sort of book thoughts, ideas, recommendations, something bookish related. And this Thursday, we are together. We are in the same space together. It's gonna be so good. Anyway, so today's topic is kind of on the wavelength of the spooky reading season, and we are going to talk about books that I know I personally don't always recommend because I don't think that they're for everybody. They're a little out there in my opinion, so I don't always throw them into my general recommendations, but yet I still recommend them to certain people if it sounds like something you would like to read. We're going to preface that because you'll find out. Anyways, the first book I want to talk about is The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. This one I read a few years ago. I don't know how to describe it. People say it's horror, thriller, mystery, which I think it's a combination of all of them. And messed up. It's weird. So it's a story of a serial killer, a stolen child, revenge, death, and an ordinary house on an ordinary street. All these things are true, and yet they are all lies. So that gives you an idea of how this book is. So you have to be prepared to be a little confused, and just go into this story is my biggest piece of advice. You think you will understand what's going on in The Last House on Needless Street, but you're wrong. Never would have figured out what it was. There's lies, there's truths, there's strange things. It's fantastic. It's awesome. I don't know how else to describe it other than that, which makes it even more strange, which is hard to get somebody to pick up a book like that. So Last House on Needless Street, give it a try. Hopefully you won't regret it. The next one I want to talk about is The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum, I believe is the last name. This one was recommended to me by Vicky. I asked her for her most disturbing book, and she did not disappoint at all. So this one also takes place on the perfect suburban street, quiet little town. Things are pretty predictable and pretty go with the flow, which tends to kind of be a theme in these books that I'm going to recommend. This one follows sisters. We have Meg and Susan. So Susan is, I think, a little older than Meg, but is crippled. She has some sort of disability. So they are living with her aunt, a distant aunt that she doesn't know much about. They were kind of abandoned a bit. And this aunt is not well. She's not well at all. It makes a not great situation for Meg and Susan. And then enter the boys that live next door. And they get wrapped up in with this family and the crazy stuff that happens in that house in quiet suburbia. And the thing that did me in, and this was published I think in the late 80s, early 90s, is this was based on a true story. So it's wild, it is disturbing, it is so sad that this happened. And that's all I can tell you. Don't recommend it to everybody because buckle up. This was hard to read. This was very hard to read. So there's my next one. It's not for everybody. Then I want to talk about Credence by Penelope Douglas. If you know, you know. So this follows Tiernan. She is the only child of very well-off parents. She hasn't really had to ask for anything in her life. She comes from a very, very well-to-do family. But unfortunately her parents pass away pretty suddenly, and she has to go live with her father's stepbrother. He's kind of the only family left, and he lives a very quiet life, kind of up in the mountains, away from civilization, with his two kids. who are about her age. So Tiernan, I think, is about 18. Her kids are similar age. So she has to adapt very quickly to this. And where they live isn't always accessible in the winter, so she kind of finds herself stuck in the cabin with these men. And how does she fit into this? I don't know. It becomes a bit of a, what do they have it? I'm looking at Goodreads. What do they have it? It's, yeah, I guess there's romance in it. It's dark. It is spicy. There is a warning, not suitable for readers under the age of 18. So we're just going to leave it there. But it is wild and not recommended for everybody. But if you like that stuff, if you like spice, here's spice. We picked this for book club for Spicy September, so that should give you an idea. And then the next book I want to talk about is the lovely Karen Slaughter. She writes some pretty descriptive, crazy scenes in her books. This one specifically is The Good Daughter, which I remember absolutely loving. It's been a while since I've read it. Two girls are forced into the woods at gunpoint. One runs for her life and one is left behind. I don't want to give anything away. So, 28, let's see. Charlotte and Samantha Quinn's happy small town family life was torn apart by a terrifying attack on their family home. It left their mother dead. It left their father, the notorious defense attorney of the town, devastated. And it left the family fractured beyond repair, consumed by secrets from that terrible night. 28 years later, Charlie is followed in her father's footsteps to become a lawyer herself, the ideal good daughter. But when violence comes back to the town, a shocking tragedy leaves the town traumatized. Charlie's plunged into a nightmare. Not only is she the first witness on the scene, but it's a case that unleashes the terrible memories she spent so long trying to suppress, because the shocking truth about the crime that destroyed their family nearly 30 years ago won't stay buried forever. And we go from there. But all of the books that I've read by her, I've only read her standalone books. I haven't read her series, but all fantastic, but not necessarily for everybody because she gets very descriptive. So that's my only warning on this one. This is probably the most mild of all the books that I'm talking about. And the last book I want to talk about is another true crime novel. It's called If You Tell by Greg Olson. A true story of murder, family secrets, and unbreakable bond of sisterhood. So we follow three sisters, Nikki, Sammy, and Tori. Their mom is, wow. Let's just say they did not have any sort of a normal upbringing. Their mom was manipulative, a liar, narcissistic, horrible woman. They lived behind closed doors at a farmhouse in Washington. Their mother, Shelley, subjected her girls to unimaginable abuse, degradation, torture, psychic terrors, horrible things. And to the point where like these girls just couldn't leave. They knew too much. It was truly horrifying. And because it's based on true events, it's a very hard read. So hard to recommend that to people, because it's a really hard read. I did really enjoy it though. Greg Olson tends to give us books like this that are hard to read, but this stuff happens and yeah, it's hard. This was a hard prompt because I don't know how to be like, hey, I loved these books and I did enjoy these books, but it's weird to say that I enjoyed these books. I don't know. I'm sure that says something about me, but who knows what it is. So those are the 5 books. If you're looking for something definitely outside of your comfort zone, stuff that will maybe stick with you for a while. If you're okay with being outside your comfort zone, if you don't like these types of subjects, don't read these books. So there's my warning. There's my plight. There's my note to everyone out there. All right, head over to Sarah's channel, see what she has for us today. I'm always interested in the books that she has as well. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment below if you have books that maybe are hard to recommend, or what you think about this subject. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I like to share books that are fantastic and wonderful, and not that they weren't written great. They're just, it's really hard subjects. So leave a comment below if you want to chat about it. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe. I said all that. I'll see you next time. Bye.